Well, good afternoon. I'm Matt McLean in the Show Me Live Weather Center. Thanks for joining us. We normally don't necessarily begin a broadcast for severe weather coverage when it comes to thunderstorm activity unless it is really something that we need to pay very watchful eyes on and very close attention to. And that seems to be what we have, which has formed across Missouri this afternoon. Let's go ahead and go over a couple of things here. Number one, all of these different counties that you see in different types of shades, this indicates power outages. And that's where these storms that were just currently in the Steelville and Potosi area, Salem and Dent County, that's where they are currently. But all of these different aspects have created an awful lot of power outages to the tune of tens of thousands of people where these storms have managed to make their way through. All these little black and white houses is what it kind of looks like there with a little bit of storm damage. That's exactly what it is. Debris from trees all the way down Highway 17 from Tuscumbia to Iberia. Those types of different things that you're looking at. The Lake Ozark itself, trailer tipped over and broken apart. We've never had a tornado warning out of any of this. It is all severe thunderstorm warnings, but these thunderstorm warnings, they are packing quite a punch when it comes to these aspects, up to 70-mile-an-hour winds, and there has been some truth to that with all of these storm reports where these storms have actually been. Now, they have held themselves together throughout the remainder of the past couple of hours or so. They are slowly kind of showing a little bit of weakness, but yet not really. And the reason why I say that is that because when you get into our neck of the woods, when it comes to radar returns, Salem and even south of Potosi toward Ironton and Centerville, you have a lot of different aspects there where the radar really has trouble getting that far south in the coverage area. And so these are the things that you obviously want to make really be cautious about as well. Kyle Douglas joining us as well here just a few moments ago. And I believe you're here. Are you not, Kyle?
I am here, sir.
Perfect. Yeah. So that's basically why it looks like it's weakening just a touch is because it's a little bit further away from the radar than per se back when it was over Lake Ozark in Lebanon, and it was a lot closer to the Kansas City and Springfield radars than the St. Louis radar currently. So we do have thunderstorm warnings in effect. They have packed quite a wallop with tens of thousands of customers behind where these storms were at earlier, currently without power. We are continuing to see these thunderstorm warnings, 70 mile an hour for Crawford County. In fact, Crawford County now reporting nearly 1,000 customers, about 9% of their entire service area currently without power. And that is expected to climb as these storms go through. At 3:40 p.m., about 5 minutes ago, this storm is located, let's say, right along a line from about 6 miles east of Steelville to 15 miles southwest of Cherryville and around that area, moving to the southeast at 20 miles an hour, 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. That's what's expected. Dillard, Davisville, Cherryville, Cook Station, Steelville. We're talking Onondaga Cave State Park and Dillard Mill State Historic Site, so that's going to be close to Viburnum as well. And you can see the statute sweep going through here. So a lot of truth when it comes to these storms. The wind is making its way toward the ground. It's creating a lot of power outages and downed trees. That's why we've kind of hopped on the air this afternoon, which we normally don't always do for severe thunderstorm warnings. Not that they shouldn't be taken seriously, but we try to reserve a lot of our live broadcasts for really lack of sensationalism and rather seriousness to the situation, which today qualifies. When you have a whole bunch of thousands of people without power as a result of the storms, well, that's a good qualifier to indicate that rather than trying to be all hyped up and trying to sensationalize something, there's some serious there to really kind of take point about. We're also seeing some popcorn thunderstorms beginning to develop all across southeast Missouri and places like southern Illinois as well. And that's obviously something that we're going to watch out for, those lone renegades. The fuel in the atmosphere is prime for really a high and quick development of these things. We've got that severe thunderstorm warning as well for the city of St. Louis, it looks like, as well as St. Louis County until 4:15, 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-size hail there. Brand new thunderstorm warning just issued for southeastern Franklin and northwestern Jefferson County until 4:30, 60-mile-an-hour winds and hail. And then again, Kyle, so much stuff going on, and some of this may be fizzling out a touch, but I would be cautious about this simply because it's a little bit further away from the radar, and we're still getting more confirmed power outages from where these storms are at. So let's take a full balanced approach and say, even if it looks a tiny bit weaker on radar because it's so far away from the radar site, we are still getting confirmed power outages, which is indicative of a fairly strong thunderstorm and cluster of thunderstorms. And it's something to really keep a watchful eye on.
Well, it certainly is. And you have to remember, these storms develop very quickly, so there is a lot of energy in the atmosphere. If you step outside, where I'm stepped outside right now in the middle of Park Hills right now, there is a lot of energy. You can just kind of feel it out here right now. I can hear some thunder off to the east of Park Hills right now. It's a storm that just developed probably just to the east of Farmington there, probably in St. John County now is what it looks like. But there is just a lot of energy being packed into these storms. And what's happening is when you get that much energy involved with it, you get a lot of, the cool air from the storms trying to replace that warm air. When that happens, you get that big clash and you get a lot of high winds. There's been reports of these storms as far west as Lake of the Ozarks and Truman Lake causing massive power outages throughout those regions. So it's not a very big surprise to me that we're seeing a lot of power outages. Nothing tornadic that I have been seeing whenever I've looked from time to time, but a lot of straight line winds, which can be just as damaging as a small tornado, maybe even more so, because you just get a big gust of air. And if you've got a lot of trees that are not very strong or out in the open like that, they can come down in a hurry. It can get on a house. It can get a barn. It can not, blow your car off the road. Even if you're not careful. So a lot of energy packed in with these storms. And it looks like like you said, maybe weakening just a tad, but they can re-strengthen very quickly, or it may, by the time they weaken enough, they may have already been blowing through. So I would say if you're in the Potosi area, northern Washington County, around the Cadet, looks like DeSoto areas, up there, Fletcher, looks like you're getting it right now. I would say be aware, get inside. A lot of people out celebrating the 4th of July today, and we hope everybody's having a great 4th. But be weather aware. These can hit in a hurry. If you're out in the middle of the river or the lake, you need to seek shelter because this has a lot of lightning potential with it as well, and that can hit you. We don't want anybody to have a bad 4th of July because somebody got struck by lightning or got struck by a tree branch or anything like that. So and something else that we need to be aware of too with these is this can result in a big what they would call a downpour situation where you just get a whole lot of rain real quick. That could result in some small stream flash flooding as well. So got to be very aware. This could be a very interesting situation.
No question about that. In fact, the National Weather Service mentioning some flood potential with these storms a little bit earlier in some of their chats. We continue to obviously monitor. I'm curious if the radar may be having a little bit of difficulty from the St. Louis site in seeing exactly what's going on in Washington and Crawford County. And the reason why I question that just a tad is because when I flip over to, like, let's say the Paducah site, which is not having trouble seeing through a whole bunch of storms to make its way to Washington County, and yes, it is a little bit further away from the radar, so it shoots a little bit higher up in the atmosphere. The storms look a little bit more ominous, especially in northern Washington County right now. And the same holding true for the Springfield radar. They're looking a touch more ominous, but there's an awful lot of strong to severe weather in between the St. Louis radar site and Washington County. I'm curious if that's hindering a little bit of the returns. It remains to be seen on that. Nevertheless, it's definitely something to keep a watchful eye on. The warnings, by the way, just expiring for Washington and Crawford County. We still have plenty of warnings, however, to talk about, and some potential warnings even ahead of this line in places just north of Jackson toward Perryville and Perry County, and in places like southern Illinois. So we've got that severe thunderstorm warning for Franklin and northwestern Jefferson County, until 4:30 this evening. This afternoon, a severe thunderstorm located 6 miles north of Lonedale, or about 7 miles southeast of Villa Ridge, moving to the east at 30 miles an hour, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and quarter-size hail. Radar indicated by this time. But again, there's a lot of proof to this pudding, if you will. There's almost 4,700 people out of power, customers, I should say, in Franklin County, Gasconade County, nearly 1,500 customers, nearly 4,000 customers in Osage County, Cole County, nearly 5,000. You've got 1,600 in Marys County. You've got Miller County with over 6,400. Pulaski's got quite a few, almost 3,000 in Phelps County, Lebanon, the Laclede County area. You have power outages in every general direction. And I will say, some of these power outages are hours old. So the damage is extensive enough where you're going back to Nevada, Missouri, near the Missouri-Kansas border, and they're still without power several hours later. All these little black round circles with what looks like a broken home in them, those are storm damage reports. So there's a lot of truth to this. It looks like we've got a storm damage report already in the St. Louis area, 2 miles east of Weldon Springs. The general public reporting power lines down in that area as well. So yes, we've got some strong weather that's moving through. There's some truth to it that is taking place. Now we've got some outages going on in Washington County, nearly about 1,000 customers in Washington County alone, about 6% of the county without power right now. So yes, there's obviously some storm damage taking place with these storms right now, and that's something to keep in mind throughout the afternoon. And I am growing a little bit concerned about some of the extra storms, popcorn variety, if you will, around Farmington and Fredericktown, making their way toward the Greenville area, Perryville especially, just to the south, near the Bollinger and Cape Girardeau County line with Perry County. We're seeing some potential there. We've already got power outages in Monroe County, Illinois, from some storms a few minutes ago. So lots going on. I don't know. It looks like we lost Kyle there for just a moment. Are you still with us, Kyle?
Hear me now.
Kyle is there now. So
okay.
We've got it.
Sorry about that. No, I got a phone call asking about the storms that were coming in. So
yeah,
I wasn't able to keep the connection there, but I missed your question, Matt. I'm sorry.
We've got an awful lot of storms that are developing even ahead of this particular line across southeast Missouri, and a lot of truth to the severe weather in those power outages, even in Washington County, Crawford, Franklin, Monroe County. We've got power lines being reported down across St. Charles and St. Louis counties now. So we have truth to the warnings at this point. That's the reason we're on the air right now. Storm reports and tens of thousands of people without power right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of people may not even know they're out of power, because I know a lot of people are out and about today, but a lot of people that are sitting at home or waiting to go watch fireworks later this evening, maybe experiencing some power outages. Yeah, it's coming up quick, and there's a lot of truth to the radar indicating that these are strong storms. It looks like the warning was dropped there in Washington County, but nevertheless, those are still storms that could pack a little bit of a punch. Looks like they'll be headed towards, which way are those headed there, Matt? Are those headed to the east?
They are moving off to the east, southeast at this point. That's a great point. Let's go ahead and put this into motion for those of you who are watching right now, and you can kind of see this line make its way through. And even though the radar is showing a slight weakening, I still argue that may be somewhat exaggerated because of the severe weather between Washington County and the radar site. I really am curious about that.
There's
and
a
the reason
lot
being, exactly, yeah. The reason being is we're getting power outage reports, and you don't usually have that with a summer-type variety storm. You get them with severe weather.
Well, and something else you were mentioning about the radar site where it's located, there's also storms up that way, so it's very difficult sometimes if they've got a lot of storms or a lot of energy in between the radar site and where the storms are, that it's having to cut through. That could be part of that as well. It's not a perfect science by any means, but nevertheless, you are in the Potosi area, north of Potosi, the Cadet Old Mines area. It's headed right to you if it's not there already. I would say, looking forward, I would say the Irondale, Leadwood, Terre de Lac areas, heads up. I would say Bonne Terre, the areas of Highway 47 in northern St. Francis County, heads up. You'll probably be getting some of this at some point if it holds together. We've seen these storms sometimes break apart as they've approached St. Francis County before, but that being the case, it's always better to be safe than sorry in this instance. So,
Yeah. Crystal telling us in Cadet that the wind is horrible. So thank you, Crystal, for that information as well.
yes.
And that confirms exactly what we're talking about there.
Well, and again, we've got all this heat, the high heat and humidity that is in this area. When you bring a bunch of cool air in with a storm, something's got to give there. And that energy, that battle between the hot air and the cool air right there generates a lot of powerful winds. So not surprising with this cool air that's coming with this storm, that's associated with this storm, as that cool air begins to sink, it tries to push that warm air out. And that's when you get your big wind gusts like that. And sounds like that's the gust front right now is going through Cadet. So
yeah, and that's not surprising. And I'll tell you what's concerning me just a touch. You see the line of thunderstorms. I think they are regenerating just a touch across Washington County. We're also seeing on the radar. Let me go ahead and draw a few things here for you so that you'll see exactly what I'm talking about on the screen here. This in the areas of white, we're seeing different areas beginning to rapidly develop. This is just north of the Caledonia near Irondale area. We're talking just right around Bonne Terre and off to the north and east from there. And then you're talking just to the east of Knob Lick near the Waumec area in southeastern St. Francis County and toward Fredericktown and Madison. And then you've got obviously Perry County getting pummeled right now.
Wow, that is
with a lot of stuff.
That is an impressive line of storms down there in Perry County around Perryville.
And so here's the thing. As Kyle just mentioned, lots and lots of fuel in the atmosphere, which means rapid intensification can take place in a matter of minutes. And I've seen this a couple of times this summer. I know you have as well, where all of a sudden these things just poof within a couple of 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you're looking at a severe situation sitting right over the top of you. And sure enough, as the radar is, the severe weather is beginning to move off to the east from the radar dome, you're looking at possibly re-intensification across Washington County. My argument is it may never have truly weakened as much as the radar was showing it because it was trying to shoot through so much severe weather between the radar dome and the county, Washington County. Don't have any proof of that. It's just that sometimes that stuff happens. As Kyle said, it's not a perfect science, and it's technology, and there are limitations to everything. So while we don't know exactly if that's the case, what we can say is there's some truth to there. Like I said, Crystal and Cadet, the wind is horrible. Megan in Leadwood, thundering and getting dark there. And so, yes, there's a lot there that's going on that warrants us being live on the air at this point, and letting you all know, because some of this could really quickly intensify. Dent County, by the way, some storm reports now being reported there. Law enforcement, these storms have a history of producing wind damage in the Lake of the Ozarks region. And so for Dent County and southern Phelps County, that is until 4:15. Also includes Texas County, but that's outside the coverage area that we normally get through there. Those storms are moving off to the southeast at 40 miles an hour. It's just south of Cherryville right now, 7 miles northeast of Raymondville. So let me see about this storm report in Salem and see what it's going to say. Branches blown off tree into internet utility line downed into the roadway. Time estimated from security camera footage taking place at 3:34. So yes, truth to the radar returns in damage, no question.
I'm not sure, Matt. Can you see my camera that I've got going there?
Yeah, let me go ahead and pop that camera on. This is a live view in the Park Hills area, Deloge and Park Hills area.
Looking directly west towards the Leadwood, Irondale area. So that's some pretty rapid development I'm looking at right there. If I try to pan, there's a lot of trees in this area, so I'm kind of trying to get to a open spot here.
Absolutely, yeah.
This is looking northwest from my position here, right in the middle of Park Hills. So, it's definitely developing. You can see the clouds darkening to the northwest, and then if you look to the west towards Leadwood there, and then there's to the southwest, it's starting to get a little dark, and you can really start to hear the thunder starting to rumble over here.
Yeah, I'm going to be curious when those storms move through. Now we've got power outages being reported in Iron County, about 200 customers there, about 3% of the county, nearly 3% currently without power also. So this is, again, there's a lot of truth to the storm damage. That's why we're on the air this afternoon with severe thunderstorm warnings, which we normally reserve for pretty serious situations. But again, there's probably 24 counties now in Missouri that currently have tens of thousands of customers without power as a result of these thunderstorm warnings. That's a qualifier in our book. That's why we're on the air to try to keep you ahead of those storms.
And it's a safety thing too. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, okay. We only come on during tornado warnings. We don't come on during severe thunderstorm warnings. So, well, most of your severe thunderstorm warnings, when we see massive power outages like this, we see massive thunderstorms or a lot of tornado related activities. But, the fact of the matter is that it's a very serious situation. And with as hot as it's been, if you're without power and it's still really, really warm out, because once these storms pass through, it could, that heat could reemerge. That's a problem.
Most definitely is a problem. And I thought we had a camera there. It's already 75 degrees. Jefferson County Parks and Recreation courtesy there. Wow. In Hillsboro, the primary sensor. Sometimes there's a camera attached to some of these, so that's why I pulled up this information. I was hoping to grab a camera. Let's see if this camera, if this has a camera. Merrimack Bluffs. We do. This is a live view out there near Merrimack Bluffs as well. So as you can see, the camera's pretty shaky and a lot of stuff going on there. And so that's something obviously to keep a watchful eye on as well. So lots of stuff taking place in and around these particular severe thunderstorms. So lots of stuff. Let's look at Perryville. I think there's a camera there. There is, the city of Perryville, and it's raining. Currently, that looks like it's out at the airport, perhaps, or very close to it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe that's about where that
is.
is.
That looks like that's out at the airport, but you can see off in the distance a little bit of sunshine, and you've got that thunder cloud that's moving its way off on the left-hand side of the screen. So you've got a lot of stuff going on there. That could potentially be pretty heavy in nature. So we are beginning to see a bit of a regeneration, if you will. St. Francis County, Eastern Washington County, Northern and Northwestern Iron County between East End and toward the Ironton area, Bellevue area there in the top portion of the upside down L of Iron County. And that's starting to show some pretty strong and strengthening situations going on there. I'm thoroughly curious. I'm not sure why the Springfield office, and Kyle, maybe you can elaborate, being the trained weather spotter that you are. They announced a severe thunderstorm warning here, but there's nothing coming back on the radar, and it's for Shannon, Dent, and Texas counties. But there's literally nothing. There's nothing there. There's like a little tiny blip here. That is the Springfield source radar. So I'm
Are they looking at the one that's just south of Salem there?
Possibly, but it's not really moving. Let's put that into motion. It's not really moving in the generalized direction. It's actually staying off to the north and almost lifting off to the east-northeast, making its way toward northern Reynolds and toward the Viburnum area. So I am genuinely curious on what the thought theory process was. But back over to Washington and St. Francis County, we're quickly and rapidly, with every statute sweep, seeing another intensification of the thunderstorm activity across, let's say, from Bonne Terre toward Valley Mines in southern Jefferson County, Potosi off to the south toward Irondale, and just off to the west, southwest of Potosi near Bates Creek along Highway P as in Paul. That's starting to rapidly increase in intensity there. So it's something to keep a watchful eye on over the next several minutes to see if these things continue to intensify as we go in the next several minutes, and possibly some additional warnings are posted.
I can confirm it is now raining in western Park Hills with a little bit of wind coming in. So it looks like the front part of that is now entering the Park Hills area.
We're getting some reports. Alicia saying we live outside of Potosi towards Palmer, and the wind is definitely significant. Michael saying that we had a tree fall behind our house in the field 5 miles west of Potosi. Chris, wind was crazy in Potosi. Now pouring, but now it's pouring down rain. So we're getting a lot of the truth there. Warning or not, these are strong storms. And so this is something to really start taking seriously in that area. Warning or not, that's kind of what's going on across Washington and eventually toward heads up in St. Francis County as well. The Leadwood area, basically Bismarck off to the north toward Leadwood, and then toward the Bonne Terre area, Terre de Lac, that whole area there. In the next several minutes, you're going to be seeing some pretty gusty winds. And Kyle, you're not very far away in the Deloge Park Hills area from probably that lead gust of wind. You're probably 10,
I'm
10
actually
minutes
right
away
in
or
the
so.
middle of Park Hills, or right on the edge of Park Hills here right now. And I don't know if you can see on my camera there, but that's what I was just walking in. It's heavy rain right now, and lots of wind with this. I don't know if you can hear that, but
We can hear it. Yeah, we've got the camera. We're airing your footage live right now.
There's an example of it right there of what these people out west of Park Hills have been saying to confirm there is a lot of wind associated with this. So you can see the trees really blowing with this as the gust front moves through. Boy, I can noticeably tell the temperature has dropped significantly in the meantime, and it just goes to show you how quickly this storm is replacing all of that heat that was domed in over here. But yeah, lots of heavy wind right now. I'd say every bit of 40 to maybe 50 mile an hour wind gusts with some of these. So
no question. And that's again something to take a little bit more on the serious nature, because it is creating some power outages, and that's going to take a while. Thankfully, the rain is at least cooling the weather off, so it's not so stifling hot. But you may be, given the numerous quantity of power outages, you might be out of power for a little while if the electric pole damage and the electric wire lines damage is extensive enough where it takes a minute, because there are so many outages. It's going to take some time.
Not just that, Matt, but think about it. 4th of July, Saturday, a lot of people work for the power company probably on vacation today or not in the office right now, shall we say. So it will take time to get them to their vehicles and to get to the areas that are damaged. And that's if they can get to it, if there's not too much damage preventing them from getting there. So got to take that into consideration as well. So something that, on a normal, Monday through Friday during the morning or afternoon may not take as long. Now you got to get somebody to their vehicles if they're even available.
That's a very, very valid point. You're exactly right. So let me see if we can pull up this camera here near this area there, Merrimack Bluffs. And yeah, it is still just howling and pouring copious amounts of rain there in the Merrimack Bluffs area, down to 72 degrees, according to that sensor as well, 72-degree dew point. So it feels more like a tropical storm type of a situation than anything. But yes, taking a look at all of this stuff, you folks in the Farmington area, you really at this moment, now there's some stuff off toward Iron Mountain and Doe Run that's possibly trying to develop there, but Deloge, Park Hills, Bonne Terre, Potosi, it's probably going to start, if it hasn't already calmed down in your neck of the woods, it's probably about to start pouring down in Potosi. Thank you, Lisa, for that. Megan, lights just flickered in Leadwood but came back on. Pouring in DeSoto with high winds. Abigail, thank you for that as well. And all of that information is extraordinarily helpful. So this is why, again, we normally on severe thunderstorms, we kind of monitor them. We obviously post them on social. We don't necessarily go live. We reserve it for more of the serious, very serious type nature. But when you have this many outages and that many storm reports, that qualifies. That's why we're on the air right now.
I do have some small trees down here at or not small trees, small limbs down at my location. These look to be, well, that one's pretty healthy right there that I'm looking at as I talk to you here from my parents' house, but here in Park Hills. But definitely had a lot of high winds with it. It's starting to calm down just a little bit now as that front has now blustered its way through. Still a lot of heavy rain. As I say that, it picks up a little bit more. But yeah, these are quick hitters. It's going through quick, but the initial part of it, there's a lot of high winds as it moves it out, and it is again noticeably cooler. I'm at, I would venture to say, as much as anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees cooler right now, as it's actually very, not counting the rain and the wind, it's actually very pleasant outside where I'm at. So, and we saw that. That was what was that, a 20-degree temperature drop from where it was to after it had run through the weather sensor. So,
it's a good 20-degree temperature drop, no question. No question. Yeah, it is notable to see that we are seeing an increasing strength there in northern St. Francis County. I don't know if you can hear, Kyle, the thunder from all of those storms. I'm going to kind of, again, I don't normally throw this. I don't normally throw this on the live television video stream feed because what are they looking at? This is literally a slice, a 3D slice of these storms, and it shows the intensification and it shows the strength as you will in this area. Now, it's a lot more difficult there to come up with different aspects when it comes to exactly where they are at. So we don't normally show that a whole lot on there, but it does give us a little bit more of a pie in the sky type of a picture to be able to kind of discern, number one, are we seeing rotation? No. Are we seeing high winds? Yes, we are. And we're seeing that even in the radar returns themselves as well. Take, for example, in the Park Hills area, between Deloge and Park Hills, the radar returns are showing more than 50-mile-per-hour winds, 54-mile-an-hour winds, if you will.
And
then also near, just north of the St. Francis Jefferson County line, also nearly 50-mile-an-hour winds. The same holding true for Arnold, 40 to 50 and 55-mile-an-hour winds we're seeing there. And in the Oakville area in South St. Louis County, again, 50 to 55-mile-an-hour winds. Brand new thunderstorm warning, by the way. This one is for central St. Charles and central St. Louis counties until 5. Severe thunderstorm located over Weldon Spring. That's where the National Weather Service is actually located. Moving to the northeast at 20 miles an hour. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail, a possibility there as well. So, yes, lots of stuff going on. Let me, very quickly, if I can get over here. I don't really see any major rotation. A little bit of turbulence in the sky, but that could be indicative of hail. Let me go over to the coefficient here and see if we've got any kind of
after what I saw with the way that looked on the regular radar there over in Perryville, I would not be surprised at all if there was some hail mixed in with that particular storm out that direction. No hail that here in Park Hills that I saw, just a lot of heavy rain and a lot of wind. Still a little bit of thunder, still a little bit of wind with this, but now it's just a nice steady rain.
We do have the potential for some hail. And what I mean by that is I'm going to circle some things for you all to see right here in this area. I was just going to
say, that one down there, potential. That would be, where would that be there, that just southeast Potosi? Would that be around the Caledonia, Irondale area? Yeah. I was going to say that one's got a good look for some hail, just from what I could see. And you mentioned something when you were doing that kind of that 3D thing. Basically, just the way I always understood it was if you see red, that's going to be heavy rain. And that's just how high the clouds get. The higher the clouds get, the more heavy the rain's going to be by that map. And then sometimes you may even see some white mixed in with that. That generally, to me, always indicated there was a good chance that there was a hail core in with that storm. So
I just circled the two strongest areas of potential hail right there and right there that you can see there, and just moving that about. This is, again, potential hail that the radar is picking up on, and not surprised by that at all. Let me go back over to the regular radar at this point. And again, over Farmington and now moving even really close to just to the north of Bismarck between Irondale and Park Hills, there is potential
right there.
for
About
some
what
hail.
is that? Is that U Highway? I believe that is, and M Highway.
Yes, indeed.
Uh,
And Highway
there,
BB.
BB as well. Yeah, so that's going to be where a lot of that is. Yeah, there it is right there. So M Highway, I've traveled that many a year out there, but going to have some hail there. Looks like we're hearing down tree and power lines, Hubble A in Potosi. That's from Elite. I'm going to say it's Eliza or maybe Miss Kilgo. I'm going to go with that because I'm horrible at pronouncing names and everything. That looks
Elisa.
like
Yeah,
Emmeline Park.
and then hail in Irondale.
Emmeline Park saying they had hail in Irondale. That kind of backs up what the radar's showing.
Yep.
So
that is exactly true. So we're going to basically take these radar returns and provide some. There's some truth there. I would think, and please forgive us, Emmeline. We don't want to mispronounce your name. Terribly sorry if we have. Our apologies. If you could let us know in a separate post how big you thought the hail was, that would be a good indicator as well. Yeah, that too.
If you could even get a photo of it and you want to send it in, you can always send it in to us. You can always also send it in to the National Weather Service. They have a Facebook page where you can send hail photos into them, and they like to look at that and go back and look at radar, and that just helps them and us for future, to be able to understand what's going on when we look at these radars.
Absolutely. There's still that thunderstorm warning for folks in Dent, Shannon, and Texas counties until 4:45. So it's got a little bit longer to go there. This severe thunderstorm is located along a line extending from near Bixby to 9 miles northeast of Summersville, moving to the east at 45 miles an hour, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and quarter-size hail. That is something that you want to be on the watchful eye out for in and around that area. Did
you say Bixby all the way down to Summersville?
That's what the
that's
warning.
A long way.
It sure is. Let me flip over to the Springfield radar, and they're not wrong. But of course, the Springfield office can't issue a warning for Bixby because that is over in the St. Louis forecast office, but they are identifying that as potentially severe.
That's almost in that dead triangle there, down around Eminence and those areas there where it's hard for Springfield, St. Louis, and even the Paducah. Boy, big, heavy wind gusts now in Park Hills. I don't know if you could hear that blowing on my phone microphone there, but just had another gust of wind come through.
Yeah, and we did receive word. Thank you, Emmeline. Please forgive us. It was pea-size hail, and she said it's already melted. So that's good to know. That of basically what we're seeing, and Kyle, very shortly. I don't know exactly where you're located in the Park Hills, Deloge area, so it all depends. But like West Elvins, the old West,
right, almost in between, right wherever it says Park Hills and Deloge. I'm kind of just to the left of Park Hills there, so right about where that green and yellow is kind of mixing. So right about there.
You've got a situation going on. Let's see what we've got here. That is going to go just off to your south then. I'm going to decrease that to this point. We're going to put that back in loop again. Yeah, it's going to take just a little bit. It's going to go basically over the Leadington area and the old West Elvins area of the Park Hills part. It's interesting. This map continues to identify river mines and Elvins and West Elvins and Leadington, East Flat River, even though that hasn't existed since 1994.
If you lived in this area, there's still a lot of people who refer to the old river mines and Elvins and Esther and Flat River portions of Park Hills. It's kind of the way we identify where in Park Hills you might be. So
yeah, it's very good. Yeah, it's. I remember the grocery store in River Mines. Used to go there as a kid a long time. But yes, I do understand that those are the areas. So that's an area to watch. Keep an eye out for pea-size hail, heavy winds. It's probably very close to being on the threshold of severe, and they just haven't necessarily upgraded it yet to this point because they're keeping a watchful eye on it. But 1 mile per hour shy of a severe thunderstorm warning will still do damage. So
Oh,
kind of
absolutely.
keep that in mind, that even if you're not under a warned area, these storms have a history, very recent, past 15, 20 minutes of producing power outages and trees down in places like Washington, Crawford, Franklin, and Jefferson counties. So what we are beginning to see, Kyle, and I don't know if you're where you can see the screen or not, but we are starting to see an additional, basically a re-intensification of the line. I've kind of drawn a white line right in front of the
I
whole
can
area.
see that, yeah.
It is starting to begin to read, because it's hitting more stable fuel that it's running into in and around the Farmington, Fredericktown area. And we're beginning to see another re-intensification of that line. And so it's kind of cycled, if you will. And perhaps folks in Fredericktown and Farmington, especially in the next XYZ minutes, may want to keep a watchful eye out for that as it makes its way through, because rapid intensification could be on the horizon for some of these storms. And we'll watch them very carefully here.
Well, that kind of goes with what they've been doing. They were strong over the Lake of the Ozarks region, and kind of developed out in front of this big system, and then re-intensified as they went through like the Steelville and Western Washington County, the Crawford County areas. Hit through here, kind of weakened just a tad. Now they're re-intensifying again. So there's still a lot of fuel out there to help keep this system alive. There's definitely no doubt about that.
Ashley and Bismarck saying the power is out there. So again, there's some truth there to, even if there's no thunderstorm warning, it is something to keep a watchful eye on. When you got storms strong enough to create power outages and bring down trees and tree damage, it is what it is. So we're just going to treat it as such.
What we see on the wind radar there, the anemometer, they're about anywhere 50, from 45 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts in certain parts. So
indeed,
it doesn't take much especially if you have trees that have been weakened, or limbs that have possibly become dormant or dead, that they come out of the tree and could fall on a power line, or God forbid a house, or anything. So it doesn't take much. I mean, just a simple 30 mile an hour wind gust can do that if it does it just right. So
let's see. We've got again that line of storms.
Justin Jones down in Fredericktown saying he's hearing rumbles of thunder. Nothing so far. Justin,
that's why
maybe want to get a heads up. I would say over there, that was a Junction City there, just to the east of Fredericktown and Junction City and Mine Lamont areas there. That one, that's an interesting look there. But you just missed that one. There may be more on the way coming that general direction. Just depends on if that storm continues to develop or if it kind of trickles its way down there. Usually right to the north of Fredericktown there gets hit pretty hard a lot. So
interesting. Very interesting dynamic setting up here. And I don't want to ignore you folks in probably, what is that, Alexander County and possibly a few others in Illinois. We don't normally cover that a whole lot. Yeah, Union, Pulaski, Johnson, and Alexander counties looking at a severe thunderstorm. That's from the Weather Service in Paducah issuing that, and that is until 4:45 p.m. as well, and moving to the southeast at 25 miles an hour. So any type of a storm that is moving ahead of that initial line has the potential to rapidly intensify and really create some problems. No question.
Just a lot of energy in the atmosphere in this area. Just continual days of high heat and humidity. Just a lot of energy in the atmosphere, and then this storm system, as a little rumble of thunder there in the background. As this storm system began to move through, like I said, it just replaced all of that hot air with some cool air that was associated with this, and that's why you're getting these intense thunderstorms right now. Again, looks like just to the east of Park Hills, got some pretty good ones there around Highway D and Double E. So that would also be around the Three Rivers Road area, Highway O, probably out there just to the Hillsborough Road area, out in that general direction. You guys are going to be getting a lot of this stuff now. So if you're listening, first and foremost, we appreciate it. secondly, heads up.
Yeah, absolutely. Jamie in Farmington saying windy and thundering there as well. And so, yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at this point. And you'll even notice Ashley saying the power was out in Bismarck. This map hasn't even updated with that yet. There is a slight delay with these power outages because of the way the system operates behind the scenes. So, different aspects. Now it's over 1,000 customers in Washington County without power. It'll update every so often. A little over 2,000 customers in Crawford County.
Wow.
Nearly 200 customers in Iron County. Dent County, that's a storm damage report there. But Dent County, a couple hundred customers. Nearly 4,000 customers in Phelps County. That's the Rolla area. Gasconade, you got over 7,000 customers in Franklin County. 4,000 customers in Jefferson County. Lots of stuff going on here that really indicates the strength of these storms and the storm reports to go with them.
Yep, no doubt about that. So we knew it was coming. We try to be proactive. I try to be proactive with this as much as possible. We'll throw it out there for everybody to kind of look at. Last few times we had weather that was supposed to be bad, it fizzled out, and that's fine. I'd had a lot of people asking, is it going to get bad? Is it going to, what's going to happen here? Do we need to be concerned about traveling? Well, yeah, anytime there's severe weather that could potentially be happening, you need to be weather aware of the day or your travels accordingly. And luckily, the last few times it didn't happen. This time, while it didn't get super severe, at least in the Park Hills and most of the St. Francis County area, it still packed quite a wallop as it was coming through here.
Yeah. And to answer your question, Ryan, in Park Hills, is it going to end in the next 20 to 30 minutes, more than likely the severe aspect of it? I will note, and the reason why you may have seen the screen change, what's all that yellow suddenly that popped up? I placed on the thunderstorm watch box on there. That's all the counties in the yellow and different shades of yellow because there are power outages directly beneath them, and it's kind of overlaid there just a little bit and altering that yellow color. But the reason why I did that, I was curious if the National Weather Service offices would start dismissing parts of the thunderstorm watch box, but they're still keeping it active all the way back toward Fort Leonard Wood in Pulaski County and other places as well, and Marys County. So I'm a little curious if they're anticipating a little bit of extra development there, at least the possibility of it, and that's why they haven't trimmed the thunderstorm watch box out. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull that information back off the screen because too many weather alerts at a time, and it really gets clustered very quickly there. So let's go ahead and bring that back over here.
And something else, that the thunderstorm watch was all the way till, I believe, 8 or 9 o'clock. Or 7 o'clock, okay. And, I mean, it's possible. It's all going to depend on how much of this energy was used up by this storm system. It's used up quite a bit, but if this storm moves off and the sun comes back out, you could see some redevelopment. I don't know how likely that is. So the Weather Service more than likely is going to err on the side of caution. And if they start seeing that there's not a real good chance of redevelopment, and they have a lot of instruments at their disposal to kind of help them judge that, if they see it's not going to be a threat anymore, that there's just nothing there for redevelopment, they'll trim those back. As far as what time is it going to stop here, Ryan, in Park Hills? Like Matt said, probably the next 20 to 30 minutes would be a good bet. It may end up a little bit before that, but it just depends on how long these storms hang around and how long they hang on.
Yeah, we are seeing even the makings, and this might actually be a touch, possibly, of good news for storms in southeast Missouri. I'm seeing an outflow boundary beginning to develop. I'm circling it in red across places in southern Illinois. This whole area right here, that is an outflow boundary. That's indicating a slight collapse of the thunderstorms there. Now, the reason that I'm saying that might prove to be somewhat stabilizing for southeast Missouri is The hope is that those storms are robbing the overall general
Yes.
atmosphere in southeast Missouri of future development. But we need some truth to that, like in truth to the
Yeah,
radar returns first before we say, oh yeah, that's what's getting ready to happen.
an outflow boundary basically it forms because energy gets out in front of the main system, and it has the potential to actually cool things off and rob a lot of the energy from the main system that it needs to survive. So it's very excuse me, it is very, very possible that outflow boundary, if that is indeed what that is, just to the east of Cape Girardeau, looks like Vienna, right where that is right now. So
Yeah, the
north of
Vienna area
Metropolis,
moving
and then
actually toward western Kentucky.
yeah, north of Metropolis and north of you down there in Paducah. It's very, very possible that when those storms arrive, when they go there to try to feed off the energy it's in the atmosphere, it's non-existent. So therefore, they just kind of diminish. So hopefully that is the case, and the area needs some rain. But let's hope it's just a little bit of rain, and then everybody can enjoy their fireworks tonight. And then if it's going to rain again, let's have it do it overnight when people are asleep. So
Absolutely. 96 degrees right now on the Metropolis at that sensor. Not shocked. It is very warm across where it's not raining. It's hot. Southeast Missouri, Southern Illinois, West, everywhere, really. Let's just be honest. It is downright hot. And so
yes,
the rain is a welcome cool, but the heat and the dew point and the humidity in the air, it is providing an awful lot of fuel. But yes, if we continue to see this area of storm activity develop ahead of this area right here, then what you're going to end up seeing is potentially this place that I just drew an X on. No, that doesn't mean I'm wiping Farmington off the map. What it means is those storms are potentially, hopefully, going to start behaving. But again, there's enough fuel in the atmosphere there that may not prove to be true. It's possible, but it may prove to not be true because of the amount of fuel in the atmosphere. Both of those lines may behave independently of one another and could easily siphon fuel. Taking, for example, this line over here where the outflow boundary is developing, right here that I'm circling, well, it may be pulling in fuel from an area that's not going to have an impact off of southeast Missouri, which would potentially be western Kentucky, and pulling that fuel in, that atmospheric fuel, and creating its own little atmospheric world there that doesn't impact the areas around the Farmington area. There's just different possibilities and scenarios there that could prove to be quite interesting over the next several minutes to next hour or two. But that's kind of what we're looking at. With regard to all of this, I'm genuinely I'm genuinely impressed, and not in a good way, but just impressed at the quantity of power outages that these storms have caused all the way back into one county, way over just south of Kansas City in the state of Kansas, Miami County. That is a very large track record of power outages due to the storms. This just reported, I guess, or it just popped up, emergency management in Washington, Missouri, in Franklin County, reporting several severe, I think they meant several, but it says severe. Emergency management reported severe large trees down. How about we go with several, and let's assume within the Washington city limits. Time estimated by radar. They may mean a severe quantity as well. It's tough to discern on that. So we'll leave that kind of wide open for you to decide which direction you want to take that in your mind. But nevertheless, yes, we are continuing to see that. I'm going to flip it over to the Paducah site for the radar for here in the Farmington area, just simply because I genuinely think it's starting to show more of a truth as it's looking out toward these storms. Not looking away from the back end of these storms. I think it is starting to show a little bit of a better return on the radar screen. So we'll stick with the Paducah site for now and kind of see what we've got going on there.
And we hear power surges in Farmington, meaning there's probably power flickers, I would imagine. No surprise there. Farmington's kind of getting through their part of the storm now. No wind at Goose Creek, but pretty good rain. Yeah, that's the thing is once the initial front goes through, it's a nice steady little rain. It's just like a
Yeah.
spring or early summer rain now here. A
You
little
know,
bit of
I
lightning in here and there,
I
but it's just a real
remember
nice rain.
in I remember in Farmington about probably 22 years ago, anything, it was nothing short of a derecho that moved through. It was as the Holiday Inn was being built there in the Maple Valley Shopping Center. It was under construction, and a wall of debris, rain, and wind. I was living in an apartment complex near the Maple Valley Shopping Center at the time, and it shook the entire complex. And there was never a thunderstorm warning for that. But by golly, a lot of damage, roofs and other damage taking off. Those of you who have lived in that area and were living back there, you may even remember the storm that I'm talking about. And if I recall, there was never even a severe thunderstorm warning that was initiated for that. And it caused a lot of damage anyway. So just because there's no warning, that's my reason for saying it. Just because there's no warning, it doesn't mean you're not going to get stuff.
Yeah, I vaguely kind of remember that a little bit. If I recall, 'cause I would have been, let's see, that would have been about the time I was just finishing up my first 4 years of college, or my first round of college there. So I remember instances like that through Farmington where a storm will just roll through and it's like no warnings or nothing issued. And then you look later and there's like trees down everywhere and power lines down. It's like, well, what happened? So, and there was just never a warning issued. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, it does. And things happen. And even if there's no warning attached to them, they still happen. And so, and right there, very rapidly, the latest sweep, I'm going to wait for that statute sweep, but I want you to focus your eyes on Southern Iron County. With just the statute sweep, it went from a red to that really white category, meaning that it's getting very strong. There we go. Right here is what I'm talking about. It literally went from just red to all of a sudden just poof. And we're seeing this right now as well around just in St. Genevieve County. So they are intensifying exactly as I feared. I was hopeful that the outflow boundary in these speckled storms off to their south and east were going to help rob the moisture, but it just doesn't seem to be happening.
It may be just a little too far away. It may have outkicked their coverage a little bit there on that, so it may not have robbed enough of that energy. It may have sucked a lot of it out of the southern Illinois, western Kentucky area and just wasn't close enough to really get any of that energy that's in the St. Genevieve, Perryville, Mississippi River, Chester area, where undoubtedly there was still some energy left over there.
Yeah, lots of stuff going on there. I don't think, like I said, the Perryville camera used to have, it still does. There we go. Now, I still think that's close to the airport, and I may be wrong. But nevertheless, it's city of Perryville. But yes, you can see the clouds, the ominous clouds there going on as well. So lots of potential there, if you will. Give me just a second here. Yeah, that is a very strong storm just to the east of Annapolis. And arguably near the Wine Garden area, Rocky Ridge Ranch, New Offenburg, toward I-55, off of Highway O there, where that Love Station is at. You got a lot going on there as well. Potentially of intensification. No warnings that have been issued yet. Not going to be shocked. Just literally. I can't even get the word out, and I'm like, we're not going to be surprised if we have warnings pop up. And sure enough, that's what we're getting. These are all for Southern Illinois until 5:45. This is Washington County, Illinois, Monroe and Randolph and St. Clair County in Illinois until 5:45. I couldn't even say the full sentence before they're popping up on the screen. And again, not going to be shocked to see additional warnings, perhaps as a possibility there taking place. Let me do that. Now, the one in Iron County for St. Louis radar is also showing rapid intensification there in southern Iron County as well. So I tell you what, you folks in southern Iron County, if you're watching right now, and let's get that movement here. Almost stationary, but for folks in and around southern Madison County as well, Shelton Ford, Varsh Ford, Marsh Creek, Beulah, and that keep a watchful eye off to your west.
Zion's over there on 67. You've got let's see, Fredericktown. That's going to be a little bit north of that particular storm, but Marquand could be in the path of that eventually if it holds together. So people on Marble Hill maybe got a little bit before it gets there, but still need to know it could potentially get there.
Yeah, we've got about almost 1,000 customers now being reported in St. Francis County, I should say, without power currently. Lots of stuff going on there. Lots of stuff going on when it comes to that. So again, there were no warnings for St. Francis County, but yet nearly 1,000 customers are without power. That's the afternoon that we've got. So lots of potential there that could create some problems as well. So lots of stuff potentially. Folks in Farmington and Fredericktown, Perryville, and like Kyle said, off toward Marble Hill, even Jackson, the Greenville area, Wayne County. This is moving in your potential neck of the woods over the next hour or less. The Greenville, Marble Hill, Jackson, probably more than the hour. Fredericktown, perhaps a little bit less, probably more like 20 to 40 minutes max. Perryville has been pummeled this afternoon with several different potential storms, but now you're seeing in northern Bollinger County some of the development there. Paducah is pretty much always on point when it comes to their Weather Service office. When it comes to severe thunderstorm warnings in their territory, they are pretty on point across all. I think there are 54 counties or maybe even more that they cover, and they're pretty on the spot when it comes to very carefully watching the radar.
Well, and not just them. Let's give a shout out to all those guys in the Weather Service. I mean, Springfield, St. Louis. I mean, Kansas City. All those guys do a really, really good job and trying to keep everybody safe and keep everybody informed and everything like that. They all do a very, very good job, and we couldn't do that without their help and their resources that they provide for everybody and things like that. So. They definitely deserve a shout out. Paducah, St. Louis, Springfield, Kansas City, all those guys do a great job.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. No question whatsoever. Everybody works hard and doing more with less when it comes to even the budget and other aspects. They've done a great job. I've had a conversation actually this afternoon, a few hours ago, with some folks. And they brought this up. And Kyle, you and I have talked about this as well. This has been an unusual summer for weather prediction. We're not turning loose as many weather balloons as we were upstream, if you will, atmospherically speaking, from southeast Missouri and southern Illinois and Kentucky and really the upper South and Midwest. Weather balloons are not being launched. And so it's hitting our area with a lot of difficulty in prediction. Because if you don't know what's going on in the atmosphere upstream from where you are at, it's really tough to put those put those stats that don't exist into computer models to create a forecast.
We can even go out towards the west, towards the Rocky Mountains, because believe it or not, folks, the Rocky Mountains determine a lot of what kind of weather we're going to get here in the Midwest. Storm systems that have to go through that area. The Rockies, so Wyoming and Colorado and, western Nebraska and all those areas, it's very, very difficult to know exactly what's going on. If you don't have the early warning detections and if you don't have the systems in place, it's very, very hit or miss. You can't always predict what's going to happen well in advance. Now, sometimes you can, and sometimes you get it right, and sometimes you can't, but it's very, very difficult. If you're not able to get that information from the western, part of the plains and into the Rocky Mountain areas, if you just don't know and you don't have the information, then it's very, very difficult to predict. It's hard enough to predict the weather in southeast Missouri as it is. But this makes it, doubly challenging. So sometimes when they say, we've got a level 2 or level 3 certainty for severe weather, and it just doesn't develop, well, there's hard telling what could have really caused that. But I appreciate the fact that they would warn us a day or two in advance, and that way you can make your plans ahead of time. And like I said, the last couple of times they said it was going to get bad, or we're in a level 2, level 3 area of severe weather concern, and then nothing happened from it because it went to the north or stayed way down south of us. I mean, okay, so that's a miss, but I would much rather be prepared and it not happen than to be underprepared and get blindsided and walloped.
No question. No question at all. Doing a lot more with a lot less. They work very hard. There's no question about that. And again, not making, in our very hyper polarized world, in no way making a political statement at all. Just these are the
we don't
facts.
do that here.
No,
we don't
do
do
not
that
do that. But it's just a fact. Whether you thought they should be released or not, well, that's between you and your mind. That's none of our business. But the key of the matter is there are fewer balloons being released. Those balloons provide very valuable information to plug into computer models. And when they are not sent into the atmosphere to test what's taking place in the atmosphere, the models go a little wackadoo. And there's just no other way about it. It's impossible to replace those weather balloons with any other technology that exists right now. So that's where we are. But if that's why you're wondering, or if you're wondering why this summer seems to be highly unusual when it comes to predictions, that's one of the main reasons. It really truly is.
Well, and we thought last year was weird.
And this year has proven to be
weirder,
very unique.
Yes, that's a good word, unique. Matt, I'm going to hop off here for a little bit and everything. I'm going to continue on about my day now that it's kind of settled down.
Yeah.
So.
Justin, big time wind in Fredericktown, letting us know there. And I'm not surprised by that because you've got a lot going on very close to Fredericktown and potentially a little bit more in the very, very near future in the next 10 to 20 minutes or so. So, yes, not shocked.
Yep. So I'm going to hop off here for now, but we'll keep an eye on the radar and everything. We'll keep an eye out there, and it may be over for us over there in like Crawford and Washington and parts of St. Genevieve or St. Francis County, I should say. But we'll keep an eye out for us. And if you ever have questions, we're always looking out. Don't forget to check out the Show Me Live weather page that you can find on Facebook. We try to keep it up to date, and one of us will, if we see something that could potentially be a problem, we will post it out there.
Absolutely.
So between Matt McLean and myself, Kyle Douglas, we will try to do the best we can.
Indeed. Well, Kyle, you take care, and I'm going to keep it here for just a few more minutes, just in case we see some additional warnings pop up. I do think there's a potential for that maybe around Bollinger, Perry, and Cape Girardeau counties, and there is that possibility. So I'm going to hang loose here for just a minute and try to do that. Stoddard County live camera there showing some pretty ominous-looking clouds going on there as well. But Kyle, thank you so much, and
anytime.
And we'll check back soon.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for tuning in, folks, and always keep it close to Show Me Live weather, and we'll do the best we can for you. Thank you, sir.
All right, take care. And that was Kyle Douglas again, and we're going to keep it right here for just a little bit longer, just in case some of these kind of prompt that area. Because like I said, we are getting, again, additional reports of additional power outages, and you wouldn't normally... If the storms aren't strong, you're not going to have that, are you? So I do think that there is some potential there that even if there are no warnings right now, it's creating power outages and quite a few. That's an indicator. That's going to be our litmus test, if you will, for right now, aside from the warnings that you've got something going on that's strong enough to create problems. And so these are the things that we're going to keep a watchful eye on, in the coming next several minutes or so, and kind of go from there. Let's see, that line is 452. Let me see. Bear with me. I'm trying to get monitorization of that outflow boundary and see that now that it's approaching an actual live sensor that we can have access to. I want to see exactly what those sustained winds are in that boundary as well. So kind of watch that area. So Perryville, off to the north, Highway 51, Heitman's Mill, Yunt, Alliance, North Patton in Bollinger County. That's just off to the north of 72 there. Some pretty intense storm activity there. As well as in the Ironton area, I'm sorry, just south of Ironton near Annapolis. That is an area of concern that we're going to monitor very carefully and kind of go from there as well. Yeah, we've got too many power outages for me to just go, it's no big deal. I'm sorry, it just is. There's 7,000 customers in Jefferson County, almost 1,300 in Washington County, over 2,000 in Crawford, 1,300 in St. Francis, almost 500 in Iron. There's enough of a power outage situation going on, over 14,000 in St. Louis County. In Franklin County, over 7,000. Gasconade, over 1,800. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Almost 3,700 customers, and these are customers, not people. So customer could be a family of four, could be a hospital, could be anything of the above. So you're talking many, many thousands of people who are now sitting in the dark, unair conditioned, and because of the numerous amount of power outages, literally every county that you see here in those shades, those indicate power outages. It's going to take a while to get those. I mean, you're talking a large area without power, and not every part of that county is without power, understandably. But you have a lot of damage that has to be repaired, and there's only so many electric line crewmen. So it's going to take a little bit of time to get everybody restored on this 4th of July. So we got our own fireworks going in the sky. You had to know that was coming at some point. It's just unfortunately of Mother Nature's type rather than anything else. So we'll keep it right here for just a little bit longer and see kind of exactly what we think is going to happen there, and kind of go from there as well. Genuinely curious, sustained winds of 0 miles an hour, but that outflow boundary is really just right there on the edge. Almost. So I'm just going to keep that up, and I'm going to move it slightly off screen there because I really sincerely want to see whether or not that's going to do that. So yeah, I've got that off camera for those of you watching, so I can see it now. It's not anything you have to worry about, but I'm curious on that outflow boundary, what it's going to do, and make its way across that part of the world, and see if it's going to siphon any energy off of anything else. So outflow usually indicates weakening. It is typically what we are seeing there. It doesn't always, but most of the time that's where we are with that. You see a little bit of storm damage now officially being reported in Potosi, or just to the west. A trained weather spotter, multiple tree limbs down west of Potosi in the area of around Highway AA. Gust occurred behind the initial outflow. So you're talking about all that. Highway 185, 2 miles northwest of Shirley there. That's out by the YMCA Trout Lodge area, along Highway AA. So yeah, a lot of stuff there in the potentiality of it all that may be creating a little bit of stuff going on there. But, that's what we're looking at. For those of you in Madison County, it is starting to not look as impressive than what's going on in southern Iron County. Still in that almost stationary area, you may see some flash flooding going on there if you aren't already. And so if it isn't taking place, it's very possible that it could, because that's some pretty heavy rainfall, if nothing else, as it makes its way in and around that area. So all right, so that's kind of what we've got going on, folks, in Madison County. You might see a power outage or two, possibly Perry County, St. Genevieve County, eventually into northern Bollinger County, maybe a few power outages as a result of these very, very hot summer storms making their way across southeast Missouri. But as of right now, the warnings are starting to kind of die off, and that still doesn't mean power outages and other aspects won't occur. They very much possibly could. And we're going to keep a watchful eye on that and kind of see what we got going on. And finally, that outflow boundary seems to be making its way toward that sensor in Metropolis. But so far, it's only kicked up to about 5 miles an hour in the wind category. So it's still got just a little bit more to go before it does that in and around the sensor, if you will. It's basically knocking on the door of that sensor, but not quite there just yet. almost. All right, folks in Perryville, off toward the southwest of Perryville in southwestern Perry County, northern Bollinger County. That's the big one right there. And then even seeing a potential redevelopment just to the east of Charleston in Mississippi County. And then also near Wayne County and parts of probably Scott and Stoddard counties. I'm trying to zoom in. It's hard to see for just a moment here. Near the Puxico area and near Zelma there in southern Bollinger County. Lots of potential there as well. So, all right, that's pretty much, I think, for the most part. Here's the deal. Those of you in Perry County, Madison County, northern Bollinger County, we have no warnings that have been issued as of yet. There may still be some sporadic power outages. It's entirely possible. Just keep this in mind and don't be surprised to see possibly a pop-up thunderstorm warning or two as the afternoon and evening progresses across the area. It may knock power out. The deal is this. Depending upon who your power company happens to be, I know, for example, Ameren, they've got their hands full because they service a large portion of the area there that I'm highlighting here, and you're seeing all these different counties. Now, it doesn't mean everybody. Crawford Electric obviously handles a lot of Crawford County. There's Black River Electric that handles some of what we're talking about there, but Ameren does cover a much larger area. So depending upon who your power company is, they may be really slammed. Ameren goes out into Jefferson City and Lebanon and all the way off to the west from there. There's a lot going on there that it's going to take a while for them to possibly get to every one. So be patient. Unfortunately, it may take a little while before anything starts to come of that. So as of this moment, we are going to, I guess, go ahead and wrap up everything. And if any additional warnings really warrant us signing back on, that's what we will do to try to make sure that everything's going to be good to go. So we're going to watch all this very carefully and just kind of go from there. For now, I'm Matt McLean in the Show Me Live Weather Center, and we are going to say a very good afternoon. I'm going to keep the radar up, by the way, for just a little while. If you want to just kind of take a look at it yourself, you'll see it moving around. I'll be kind of keeping a watchful eye on a few things, but in case anything starts to redevelop, we'll be right here for a little bit. So the audio is going to go silent, but the actual radar itself will stay up and online.